Okay, guys, this is the instructions for the political economy final project. Over the last couple of months, we've learned about a number of philosophies relating to political economy. While each of these philosophers purports to explain the intersection of politics and economics, none offers perfect explanations of the proper relationship between the state and the economy. American economic thought often holds that economic policy should be rooted in free market solutions to the extent that it is possible. As a liberal democracy, the political culture of the United States most often values maximum freedom in both economic and political arenas. Conventional wisdom might suggest that liberal democracy and free market capitalism are a natural fit. Each pay homage to limited government and maximizing personal freedom. Adherents of the free market system argue that a democracy that maximizes personal freedom is a natural match to an economic system that they argue grants individuals the space to pursue economic success with minimal government intrusion and maximizes economic success across a broad portion of the populace. The core beliefs of the conventional wisdom on free market policies are rooted in the ideas of Adam Smith. However, the perspectives provided by Marx, Keynes, and the critics of modern global capital challenge many of those core beliefs. So the prompt that we're going to be looking at is, are the underlying assumptions connecting liberal democracy and free market economics accurate in the 21st century? Now, this is a big topic, and the idea that we could cover it perfectly in the amount of time we have is unrealistic. Okay, so we're going to break it down into 6 different sets of core assumptions, and you, as an individual student, will look at one of those sets of core assumptions. Okay, so you can see those listed here. Free markets are best at providing a higher standard of living and elevating countries out of poverty. Free markets are better than government at ensuring economic efficiency and determining the best economic outcomes. Free markets are best at spreading economic benefits broadly across all social classes. Free markets are better than government at ensuring individual freedoms. Free markets are better than government at maintaining stable economies. And finally, free markets are global in nature rather than being sustained within a nation's borders. So these are all basic core assumptions that we see in most free market economic theories. Okay, so what does the project entail? Well, for this project, you are going to answer that question. Are the underlying assumptions connecting liberal democracy and free market economics accurate in the 21st century? By addressing one of the major assumptions made by proponents of free market economics, see above. Students are going to be signing up for their preferred assumptions and perspectives. You can sign up with a Google document. Each of these are linked. So if you were to click on period 1, you would end up with something like this. So you can sign up. Let's say you wanted to do free markets are best at providing a higher standard of living and elevating countries out of poverty. And you wanted to look at it from a Marx perspective. What did Marx say? So you sign up here. Okay. There are the exact number of boxes as there are people in class, so please don't change any of the available boxes. You can see that some are blacked out. That is because we have a specific number, 32 students in class, and I have 32 boxes. So first come, first serve. Okay, so once you've signed up, you'll start looking at the components of the project. So each student is going to construct a 3-page response, which will include the following. An explanation of the core assumption. Okay, you signed up for it. So if you did the core assumption 1, free markets are best at providing a higher standard of living and elevating countries out of poverty, you're going to want to explain that assumption. Okay, in the book, 23 Things They Don't Tell You About Capitalism, there is a solid explanation for each one of those perspectives. Okay, I'm sorry, for each one of those, what do you call them? Core assumptions. Okay, and then you're going to create a response to the question, in what ways does Ha-Joon Chang challenge your assigned assumption in his book, 23 Things They Don't Tell You About Capitalism? Now, most of you probably don't have the book, which is why I have it linked right here as a PDF. Okay, so you click on that, you're going to get 23 Things They Don't Tell You About Capitalism. And if you go back and look up here, you can see which things, those are chapters. Chang calls those things, but they're chapters in his book. So these are the chapters that relate to that particular assumption. Okay, free markets are best at providing a higher standard of living and elevating countries out of poverty. Relates to things 1, 4, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, 15, and 17. Now, don't feel like you have to read all of those. Skim a couple, figure out which ones are best suited for you to use. Okay, so if you were to go here, you can see there is an introduction, and it's not that long. I would recommend everybody read it because it provides a really good basis. Okay, so thing number 1, what are they telling you? What are they not telling you? And then he gives you some examples of ways that the assumption may not hold up. Okay. Okay, so you're going to use a minimum of 3 of the things. Okay, so if you have assumption number 1, you have this list of things right here to choose from. You just need to pick 3 of them. You don't need to read all of them. You're going to choose 3 things from Chang's book to answer the question. The appropriate things associated with these assumptions are indicated above, like I said. Then you're going to look at how does the perspective of Smith, Marx, or Keynes, depending on which one you have, and the critics of modern global capital support or contradict the assumption. Each student will be answering the question from the perspective of one of the listed economists, and you must include at least one of the articles presented relating to modern global capital. And there's a link here. You click on the link, and it will take you to a folder that has a series of articles, some of which we've read already, some of which we haven't read. The requirement is that you use at least one of these articles to support your claims. Okay, and then what outside evidence? At least one source for each thing. So I would expect 3 different sources, outside information. You're going to have to do a little Google search to see if you can find evidence or data that would either support or refute the arguments posed by Chang. And then finally, you're going to wrap it up by making one policy recommendation based on your research and analysis. Okay. The typed response, which will include a premise or a thesis, discussion of the theory and evidence, and a final conclusion, including the policy recommendation. There's no need for an introduction, so you can just start with your thesis statement. Okay. Now, in terms of due dates, the individual responses must be typed, double-spaced, in font no larger than 12 point, and follow MLA format. Each student will be required to submit the response to turnitin.com. Individual responses will be submitted electronically no later than May 28th at 8 p.m. Okay. Also due on May 28th, you are going to create or present your essay in a 3 to 5 minute video on Flipgrid, and I'll give you more instructions on that as we get closer. Okay, the video presentation must make mention of the policy recommendation at the end, and again, that is also due at 8 p.m. Okay, the video can simply be you discussing what you found in your written essay. Okay, the only thing I want you to do is kind of avoid reading word for word. Speak conversationally about what you found, whether and what kind of policy recommendation you would have. And then finally, the last thing, the thing that will wrap up your senior year and your high school career in history and social science, is to, after you submit your video, you're going to go to at least 2 other students' Flipgrid videos that they've uploaded and provide some comments on what you thought of what they presented, focusing specifically on the policy recommendations. That will be due on May 29th. Okay. Also, we've included a rubric. You can see that the written portion is worth 40 points. The presentation and delivery, which is the Flipgrid video, is worth 10, and then your comments on other students' Flipgrid videos are worth 10, for a grand total of 60 points that goes into the final exam category, keeping in mind that you are being awarded credit or no credit. Okay, if you have questions, the earlier you can ask them, the better. So either send me an email or show up to office hours on Tuesday so that you can ask those questions in a Zoom office hours situation, and then we'll get the ball rolling. If you have any other issues, extenuating circumstances that may prevent you from reaching due dates, please let me know so that we can work something out. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.